Well, third time lucky, not too sure what's happening here. I tried to call this the Natural Health Live broadcast, and I've had 3 false starts here, but are we here? I hope we are. Eventful day yesterday, so I thought I'd put my policeman hat on because formerly in another life, in 1981, I joined the National Companies and Securities Commission, which is now ASIC. And I was effectively a corporate policeman. I was the principal legal officer after a couple of years in the National Companies and Securities Commission, did a corporate crime course with all the boys, federal police, all the corporate affairs at Bathurst for, might have been a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, can't remember now. And so I had a bit of a run-in with the police yesterday. They were very good with me. They understood at the end exactly where I was coming from, and we had a very friendly exchange. I have been banned temporarily, I hope, from the Melbourne University grounds, which include the library and the bookshop. Some of you probably watched my Facebook Live yesterday afternoon at 3:45 when I was describing one giant cock-up. Cock-up spelt C-O-C-H after the Cochrane Review collaborations. And as the policeman tapped me on the shoulder there, I actually thought he was a security guard. I didn't realise he was actually a policeman. I was actually reading out some fairly critical Cochrane reviews of the science behind the influenza vaccine for children. So, pretty important topic. And naturally, the peak global evidence-based organisation of Cochrane, independent from the pharmaceutical industry as best as anyone else in the world, had a very damning indictment. And let's just see what I put up yesterday. We'll have a recap of today's events, and we'll also have a new segment for one giant cock-up. I've got another giant cock-up I want to focus on, and I'll have a third segment called Whack-A-Mole. I've been trained as a skeptic on Friday by Dr. Ken Harvey, on how to whack a mole. So we can whack back. That's okay. It's a fair world. So we'll have a whack-a-mole. I've picked one for today. We'll finish with the Vax movie update in Brisbane, and the final topic I had was maybe some suggestions you've got. I've drafted a letter to the Melbourne University Vice-Chancellor on how he'll let me have access to the Melbourne University. So hopefully I'll be pretty quick about this and not keep you up all night. So we'll try and do it in about 15 minutes. See how we go. How are you, Adam? We freezing on your end. What does that mean, Adam? Oh dear. Let's just open the batting with what was put up on my site today. So we'll have like a daily recap here. See if this works. May not be that good. So this is this post we put up. One giant cock-up yesterday. That's got the full live semi-excavation by the police when I was talking about vaccines for preventing influenza with healthy children. Have a look at the 2-minute 30 mark when I was effectively evicted by the police, and I've got the link there to Cochrane in that, so you can read the actual comment itself. But the key words were the review showed that reliable evidence on influenza vaccines is thin, but there is evidence of widespread manipulation of conclusions and spurious notoriety of the studies. And then that's my comment: flu shots anyone for kids or pregnant women. So that's how we sort of finished yesterday. Some of you will have remembered that we've been talking about the fact that Minister Hennessy thinks, can vaccines overwhelm a child's immune system? No, she says, it's impossible. A child's immune system could manage 100,000 vaccines at once, and someone, if you're actually looking at this, you could take credit and put up a sign. Someone worked out if you give 100,000 vaccines in a single day, Minister Hennessy, you need to have a chat to your little science lab, or maybe ring Greg Hunt, now the Minister for Science, no longer Minister of Environment. How are you, Greg? I haven't forgotten you, mate. I've got a bit to talk about Risperdal there, haven't we, Greg? Bit of cover up there, bit of corruption maybe. 100,000 vaccines at 50 mil, is it? 50 mil each vaccine. It came out to 50 litres. Could you imagine pumping a 2-month-old baby currently getting 8 vaccines with 50 litres? Like we're only supposed to have 2 litres of water as an adult, so 50 litres. It possibly could overwhelm the immune system of a 2-month-old baby. I don't think you need to consult with Dr. Offit there, Minister Hennessy. And for those of you that haven't gone to the Better, what's it called? Better Health Channel. Be better and have 100,000 vaccines, 50 litres pumped into a muscle. Like this is even down your mouth. It's in a muscle, 50 litres, 100,000 vaccines. References vaccine 6th edition, Plotkin, and guess who he is? The medical director of Sanofi Pasteur. Thank you very much. Second largest vaccine manufacturer, I think. Orenstein and Dr. Profit, page 1470 of the vaccine 6th edition. I'm not allowed to buy in the bookshop. I can't even buy it anyway. You have to order it. That's that reference down there. Better Living Channel. And police are doing a good job. Now, let's just recap why the United States disagrees with Minister Hennessy here. There was actually an epidemic of disease. 1986, epidemic. What was it caused by? Vaccination, creating an epidemic. But was largely being eradicated. Natural forces were eradicating the impact, the incredible impact, the damages being done by the vaccine industry in the 1980s. Now, not me saying it. Guess who said there was an epidemic that would have, of disease that would have bankrupted the entire US vaccine manufacturers? Let's see who said the epidemic of disease would have bankrupted the entire industry, would have had no vaccines. It was actually the last remaining manufacturer, Liddell Laboratories, estimated in 1985 its potential tort liability exceeded its annual sales by a factor of 200. Reference number 7. Go down to 7. It says page 52 of number 6. Singh and William. Who wants to buy me this book? Supplying Vaccines, an overview of the market and regulatory context in supplying vaccines, an economic analysis, critical issues, M. Pauly, C. Robinson, etc. M. Williams edition, 1996. Okay? So, think about it, right? Had the US not introduced the National Childhood Injury or Vaccination Injury Act 1986, exempting liability for manufacturers, we would have eradicated all the disease being caused by vaccines. Interesting. Natural causes. Because of the force of law, force of the people electing politicians that had a court of law administering negligence actions. Think about it. But there's a disease called corruption, and as well, and the corruption disease took over, and they gave total exemption from liability and upstarted the vaccinations again. And lo and behold, what happened later on in the last 24 hours? Del Bigtree, can't wait to get him to Australia. That'll be fun, won't it, Mr. Hennessy? What did Del Bigtree put up today? Let's just have a look at this. Okay. This is live today. I put it up 20 hours ago. This is one Del Bigtree, vax.com. New study, vaccination and health outcomes. This is on my Peter Little Facebook page. A survey of 6 to 12-year-old vaccinated and unvaccinated children. What is going on with the world? A scientist looking at vaccinated and unvaccinated children. That can't be right. abstract, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, go through it all. You got to do a bit of homework. Can't spoon feed you completely. That showed that one category of vaccinated children that were preterm had a 6.6, think about this, 6.6, 660%, is it? Or is it 760%? 660% increase in neurological development disorders than the vaccinated group, about 600 children. So Minister Hennessy, 100,000 vaccines, I think, is pretty overwhelming. You don't want to be getting that many neurological diseases, do you? So that's a live piece of science today. It's possibly better structured than the Offutt 100,000 vaccines is good in a day. That was a theoretical calculation that he invented. Don't suggest where he was, anyone, please. Not on this site. He probably was in a science lab. Okay, what else happened today? I'm just scrolling up the Peter Little Facebook page. Most of you can't read it. There's some donations. Thank you very much. I've got about, one beautiful lady gave me $250, and there's some beautiful other generous, even $5 or $10, it all helps, I promise you. So we had, I think, about $300 or $400 today. Much appreciated. That'll get me up to Brisbane as well to see the Vax movie premiere next Tuesday. So thank you to those people. Donna included, Hugh Starr and Kira, and there was someone else. Some of them are anonymous. You can go anonymous if you want, and I really do appreciate it. Now, here we go. This is interesting. 5 hours ago, we'll switch to the first whack-a-mole today, and the whack-a-mole today, if you're a bit surprised about me using the term, check it out on Google. It's actually a game that's been invented since 1975. It's downloadable on an app. I've got it on the app. Maybe we'll play it one day. And they laugh at us all. I mean, they are laughing behind our back, whacking moles every day. They think we're the moles. Well, interesting. So that was the training course I did on Friday with Ken Harvey, Dr. Ken Harvey, the head executive member of the Friends of Science in Medicine. And he's educating all his students on how to whack every natural practitioner, every pharmacist now pretty much, and possibly the nurses. And of course, loves and homeopaths, naturopaths, nutritionists. He's going to be going right through all you. So they can do 150 websites in a day, whacking you, a mole, if you're a pracky out there. They call you a mole. Wow, pretty good. So we're going to have a little whack. Let's have a look at who Ken Harvey's friends are, okay? Here we go. On my Facebook page 5 hours ago, Friends of Science in Medicine self-confessed serial complainer Dr. Ken Harvey has perfected his whack-a-mole complaint strategy technique to complain about 150 natural practitioners, pharmacists, integrative doctors are too scared to put their names on the Australian Integrated Medical Association website. Come out, Penny Caldecott, President. I need to talk to you. 150 Ken can knock you over every 2 days if need be. Ken uses sound scientific principles because he looks at PubMed and he does look at Cochrane, using eager, young, vulnerable graduates. Well, actually, they haven't graduated. They're undergraduates. I made a mistake. At Monash University, they do the website searches. They look at PubMed. They look at Cochrane. Yes, they look at Cochrane review analysis, and then they construct complaints to any regulator they want, including the TGA. There's 2 ways they complain to the TGA, direct and to the Special Advertising Panel. Good to see Paul Kern advertising an advertising seminar. Well done, Paul. He's been to some of my talks, and I've been over to Adelaide, the CMA there. They're going to teach you how to make sure you're one of Ken Harvey's moles. They love AHPRA complaints. The 2,000 chiropractors know all about that out of the 5,000. ACCC, they love that. And that one means the state complaints health system is going to go nuts on 1st of Feb. Hope to beat Ken. I'm going to have a race with Ken, see if I can whack a few of his moles. Might have been a few in the room there, 100 of you that I did the training course on Friday. Thanks very much, guys. Much appreciated. So that's whack-a-mole for tonight. What else have we got? Victorian Police, be good, wouldn't it? How many people are being intimidated? It's a criminal act, okay? The police are in charge of intimidation on social media, ladies and gentlemen. Hope they do their job like they did with me yesterday to stop me talking about that nasty global gold standard evidence called Cochrane Review. But they were doing their job, and they were brought in. They didn't really realise what had happened. They thought I was creating a disturbance. All Facebook Live, 2 Facebook Lives, everything, sorry, I'm not sure, two Facebook Lives were being done. That was the entire disturbance. I still had a ticket, paid for, not refunded, not even allowed to have a cup of coffee as I left, even though the security guard said I could. Still hasn't been refunded today. Okay. Sorry, let me switch back. Okay. Here's a Facebook page for Ken Harvey. If you want to go and screenshot all of Ken's friends, go for it. They'll probably all come off pretty quick. Naturally, I've already got a copy because I got trained by the skeptics on Friday. Number 1 friend is Chris Guest. Chris is the one that black banned me. The vice president was very generous with his time with me on Friday. I think he would have let me come to the conference, but not Chris Guest. That's okay, Chris. That's fine. You're doing your job too. And there's the other friend of Ken Harvey and Chris Guest. I'm not sure whether Paul is a friend of Chris's, but he's definitely Paul Offit, a friend of Ken Harvey. Anyone heard of Paul Offit? Anyone out there? Does anyone know who Paul Offit is? No, you probably don't in the pro-choice group, so I won't dwell on Paul Offit. Now, is today's one giant cock-up. We'll just have maybe one every day. We'll just see how I go. I don't want to overtax myself. I did do an hour of hyperbaric oxygen this afternoon. That perked me up. So what we're going to do now, I think the Friends of Science in Medicine, which is Ken Harvey's baby, along with Professor Dwyer, maybe we'll do you tomorrow night, Professor Dwyer. You've been wondering when I'm going to focus back on you, so maybe you're tomorrow night. Although I do want to have dinner with my dad. Okay, let's have a look at the giant cock-up the Friends of Science have just done. Okay, let me just get this prop up. Can't believe the Friends of Science in Medicine, their latest newsletter. You'll find it on scienceinmedicine.org.au. Okay, this is the latest quarterly newsletter. Stand up like that might be better. Newsletter number 14, 7th of October. What's new since our last newsletter? Well, media release. Acupuncture, that I've been having for 25 years, thank you very much, found to be pointless. Well, you want to see me on a track bike in the morning, guys. I'm going pretty quick at 61, I can tell you. I'll challenge anyone out there. Complementary and alternative health practices are increasingly coming under scrutiny. Whoa! As governments look for ways of cutting waste from the escalating health budget. I don't think it's coming from the complementaries. Removing subsidies for interventions, pills and potions which don't work is an obvious starting point. And of course, the NHMRC, the recent government commissioned report from Australia's top health research body, wouldn't have a clue, as you'll find out soon. The National Health and Medical Research Council found no credible scientific evidence of clinical effectiveness for any of the 18 most commonly used alternative modalities, including reflexology, homeopathy, iridology. Okay, so that's the starting point with the Friends, but have a look at where they finish. You can get this entire document. It's about 12 pages. I have got a draft post on LinkedIn, so they'll probably steal that tonight and it'll disappear once your LinkedIn now taken over by Facebook. Having lost 60 posts, disappeared into the sunset when I was dueling with John Cunningham that day. Must have been a coincidence, no causation. Here we go. So this is the Friends of Science in Medicine's view and why they want to ban Chinese acupuncture. Systematic review of acupuncture for various pain conditions, blah, 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 and a mix of negative, positive and inconclusive results. 55 systematic reviews, blah, blah, blah. Now have a look down here. Well, let's read this bit out. over the past 10 to 15 years, the Cochrane collaboration, ignored by mainstream media when it comes to jabbing pregnant women and children with influenza vaccine, has addressed the efficacy of acupuncture for many of these indications when clinical trials have been performed properly, not like the influenza vaccines, boys. Lack or insufficient evidence of effectiveness for acupuncture was demonstrated in most cases, the Cochrane collaboration. And they go through 7 Cochranes, I promise you. Can you believe that? So they are going to systematically destroy and lobby against the entire use of Chinese acupuncture. Good luck, boys. That's a big mistake. Who's got the world's reserves of money? US dollars. It ain't America, it's China. So you're going to take on the entire Chinese community in Australia. I can't believe my luck. I mean, I need people with money because you've drained the heaven out there, the natural heaven of practitioners and parents that are not sponging off taxpayers 150 billion a year going into mainstream medicine funding. They're paying for it out of their own pocket and losing social welfare. So we do need some money for this campaign, and it could well be the Chinese, and I hope to be very closely helping them in their quest. Now, next one on my website, and I'm just about done and dusted here. Better get some sleep, but I'm going to do track cycling in the morning.